Live. It says we're going live. It says we're here. I don't actually believe that until my existence is validated by others.
Okay, well, I see us in the one screen.
Right. I'll wait till others can actually see and hear us.
Mm.
And I'll be happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. This is our weekly live stream while we record our podcast, the audio version, which comes out every Friday on most right now available podcast apps. We'll talk about that later. Always available at lovingbdsm.net when the site is working. Talk about that later. We are here 9 minutes early. If you arrive after the stream, but before I put in timestamps and don't like idle chit chat, fast forward. I'd say 10 minutes. It's probably safe. If you're here for the live stream and don't like idle chit chat, give yourself 10 minutes to do something else or turn the volume off. I don't know. Whatever you got to do. Be happy with yourself.
Just be happy.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I wish it was that simple.
I
wish
know.
I could just go,
I know.
You just have to be happy. And people could go, oh, okay, all my problems are solved.
Right.
Or I'm just not thinking about them anymore. Which, quite frankly, the times I'm happy is just when I'm not thinking about my problems anymore. So can confirm that while walking, if you're physically able to do it, can be nice. It does not cure anything. Anxiety's still high. I'm still who I am. But the walk, it's nice to be able to do. Okay. Water, yes. When I start to feel a little off, I go, wait, am I hydrated? But it does not cure depression. And yoga stresses me out, so it has done nothing for my mental health. So, there we go. Okay, I'm going to say hi to folks who are all now starting to look at me. Hi. I did a thing.
Yeah, folks, between her shirt and her makeup and the hair.
I was feeling myself today.
She's got this little goth thing going on. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't feel goth. I feel purpley. And then I don't know if the lighting is doing us any justice, but I'm okay with that. So I'm going to say hi to folks. Hi, Taishu. Hi, Silent Wing. Hi, technically not here, Mr. Spot. Good luck on that job interview. Hi, Little Miss. I'm scrolling. Hi, Missy. Hi, C. Stevens. Hi, Mel. Hi, Giga. Hi, Madison. Hi, Puppy. I'm scrolling. Hi, you don't. Hi, Tiana. I'm scrolling. Hi, Eva. I'm scrolling. Hi, Hi, Andre. Hi, Princess Rara. God, I haven't said your full name in forever. Hi, Rara. That was weird. I was just reading. You know how you just read and just say and you don't even think about it? That was it. Yeah, so just go ahead. Talk about the elephant in the room.
Hi, everyone. Glad to have you here with us.
We do look like two halves of something.
Two opposite halves.
Two opposite. Yeah. You're all light and airy and look like you need to go to a party on a boat somewhere. You look very nice, by the way. And I am fuck your soul. I don't know. There goes our monetization, if we even had it. Yeah. Hi, Alana. Hi, Jesse. Yeah, Silent Winged, in the mirror with full lights on in my own house, I just feel pretty with lots of purple. But yeah, I imagine it all coming together. I don't want to hurt anybody. I'd rather be hurt. Sorry, I'm not a top. But, if this look plays into, thoughts that play in your head like a movie, I'm okay with that because I don't give a shit. But, yeah. I probably shouldn't go out like this with the resting bitch face, which since the hair has become quite purple, I'm now being perceived by others out in public and it's freaking me out. And my immediate defense mechanism is to harden the resting bitch face, which I did not know I could even do. And people quickly look away, so I don't even know what that looks like. Yeah, I got my hair done last Friday, July 29th, I think. I am following some tips I saw from a hairdresser who also has vivid hair. She actually has purple currently, of how to wash it, when to wash it, what to wash it with, when you wash it, because you don't wash it as often as I used to wash my undyed hair. And we're 5 days in. No, 6 days in and it's still pretty bright purple. But it's an adjustment. It's a lifestyle. I'm very happy with it. The first 2 days, I was very... it was hard. It was hard to just go to the grocery store.
You were very self-conscious about it.
I was very self-conscious. And now I'm like, oh, yeah, that looks normal.
I mean, you know, in the past, you've just had highlights.
Yeah, well, no, it's not that I only one time had purple highlights. Prior to, I dyed it a, air quote this, natural purple color, like a plum or an eggplant. So in bright sunlight, you could see the purple, but in like a building, it looked like an auburny brown. Y'all might remember. It's on the channel 100 years ago. But yeah, I've only done purple highlights once, and it was when I went to London a million years ago. This is all over. This is all over one color, 4.5 hours. My hair does not feel the same way that it used to, because to get this color to stick, it's very blonde under there. I like it. I'm happy with it, but it is absolutely an adjustment. So, but I quickly forget what I look like just in general. Like not usually preoccupied with my appearance until I know I'm going to be in front of a camera or other people. So once I got used to just sort of staring at my hair in the mirror for a couple days, I'm fine. I've also kind of adjusted to the passing looks, because most people won't say anything. And then we were in the grocery store the other day, and
that was too cute.
An older woman, could have been a grandma. She had like a rose gold pink. Like that was not a color found in nature. So, you know, kindred spirit. She's walking with a little girl, and first they almost ran into us with their cart into our cart. We got that sorted. We walked past. I heard her go, oh my gosh. And she talks to the little girl and she goes, do you see her purple hair? Look how purple that is. Isn't that pretty? And as I'm like trailing the cart and everything, I hear them go, your hair's so pretty. And I'm like, thank you. And I'm like, okay, that is how I would like to be perceived in public from now on. You know, the rest, no thank you. The day I got it done, we had to go do a parent thing, be parents at the high school for marching band. That was still strange, walking into that room with all those parents, and I'm like bright ass purple. I even texted the 17-year-old and went, if you're wondering where I am at and you're like, where's my mom, I'm the one with the purple hair. And he went, oh nice, okay. So my intention is to do different colors. Like, and for a while I'll probably do purple, but there's some blues they have that are pretty. I'd like to do a multicolor. A couple times that will. We had the budget for this because the follow-up is less expensive, but if I go multicolor, I'm gonna have a budget like I had to do it to begin with. So yeah, I'm excited, and now I'm trying to keep it as vibrant as I can for as long as possible. So yeah. So yeah, that's that. But I'm enjoying it.
You are. And I'm glad that you are. It looks good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do this for years. And we've worked from home for years. Technically, I probably could have done it a long time ago, but then I would have had to stop last summer, and that would have been depressing. So, yeah. And then I finally did like a full like eye makeup thing, which I haven't done in forever. I was like, oh, I really am feeling myself now. So yeah, that's our news. Do you have anything else for the butt rub? I have monopolized the entire damn thing.
That's fine. You've been doing good.
I'm batting my purple eyelids at you.
I see that.
Well, it makes me now want to get a purple mascara. I know it doesn't really show up too well, but the idea of it's fun. So, the woman who did my hair for me, when she was whitening everything, she goes, "Do you want to do your eyebrows?" And I went, "No, I don't." I saw somebody online who they actually had purple hair and they dyed their eyebrows, and I was so distracted by their eyebrows I wasn't listening to what they were saying. I was like, "No, that's not for me." I was like, I think I could just like use purple eyeshadow and pretend that would be better. Temporary is better. So but
it's 12 o'clock.
It is 12 o'clock. Now I have to remember what we're doing. And I keep getting distracted by the live chat because there's lots of conversation. I love that about y'all. But now I can't answer any of it because I got to go to work.
Well, we're here to do a live stream and record a podcast at the same time.
I know. So I can't be distracted. I know.
Squirrel.
Yeah. That's a damn truth. So, we will get started. So this week's episode is to answer a question we received actually well in advance of last week's Q&A, but also the question was so good I immediately jotted it down, popped it in my notebook where I keep like potential topic ideas. That person did ask in DMs that I don't go in very often, so they got lucky I saw it to begin with. And we do try to answer questions when we can, either this way or whatever. But yeah.
Excuse me.
Question, we're going to answer it. And the question was essentially, does a submissive have to change, and how much does a submissive have to change in order, to have a successful DS relationship? I immediately had thoughts.
Me too.
Right. I'm imagining, certainly our more experienced Kinkster friends out there have immediate thoughts. But then I realized that my thoughts had thoughts. So it's a topic.
It's layers.
Like onions.
Like onions, yeah.
Like ogre onions, yes. If you enjoy anything we do here and we don't scare you off, we love a thumbs up. If you like it enough to want to come back for more, please consider subscribing. We just hit 7,000 subscribers, so thanks, y'all. When you subscribed,
go ahead and ring that notification bell so you get updates of new content.
Sure, just do what Daddy says. If you really like what we do, want to get more of it in other ways, plus have access to a Discord server where you can talk to other Kinksters, much like in the live chat, you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/KaylaLords. The link is in the description box. You can join for as little as $2 a month. Blah, blah, blah stuff. It's all there. Yeah. Okay, so let me pull my thing up, and then I think you can hit the magic button,
right,
and we can bring everybody in, because I have announcements, because of course I have announcements. Okay. I got worried you didn't know what button to push. And you're a button pusher from way back.
I am. I know how to push your buttons at the very least.
I know, and sometimes I love it, and sometimes I don't. Because, life is full of complexity. Before we get into this week's episode, a few announcements. One is a fun one. If you would like more of us, and you're looking for another kink fetish BDSM podcast, we were interviewed on a podcast called Spank U, letter U, Spank U Next. It's a podcast that's part of fetish.com. The episode is called A 24/7 BDSM Marriage. It was published on July 28th. It's available on all major podcast apps. If you go to Google and search Spank U, again, the letter U, Next, all the links will come up. I have linked to the Spotify podcast episode or podcast page, because I know not everybody has Apple, and the people who have Apple wouldn't have Google, and so I went with Spotify, but you can find it if you're interested. We spent about an hour talking about our DS relationship, what that's like for us, how we met, some stuff y'all will have heard, but in a different interview-like format. It's the two of us. It's fun. So yeah, definitely check them out. And then if you like what you hear, you've got another podcast to potentially listen to. So that's the first thing, and that was really fun, and we were like super excited to do it. And
yeah, had a good time chatting with them.
It was one of those chats where the time went by real fast, and we're like we actually timed out the Zoom meeting and had to dial back in. I know, and nobody is shocked that I could out-talk the Zoom meeting, because we know I can. Okay, so the next announcement is that things are still glitchy. So for those people who normally listen on Spotify and have come over to YouTube or our DMs or the website and gone, where the heck is every episode after Joy and DS? With all the website issues we had a couple weeks ago, something about the feed got screwed up, and I was able to fix the Apple Podcast feed and the iHeartRadio feed. The Spotify one I could not easily fix. The day I was sitting down to try to fix it again, the guy who handles our website for us, he's amazing, Michael, we love him, he messaged me and went, I am going to drastically rebuild your site so it will stop crashing. I went, okay, well, maybe I won't mess with anything. So I'm waiting for him to finish that, and then I will try to fix the Spotify thing. What he's doing will make the site more stable and less glitchy and fix some underlying problems that were nobody's fault. It's just how technology works. But at any point, over the weekend, links weren't working. They are working as of moment of recording again. Anytime a link does not work, like in our link tree or on our website, message us, email us, in whatever way we're connected. Try to like raise a flag and go, oh, I can't get anywhere. Because sometimes I don't know. But right now I do know, and we're working on it, and we're trying our best. Had a panic attack because both our Etsy workbooks, 30 Days of DS and then 30 Days of DS Volume 2, are filled with links to our site. And I was getting messages over the weekend going, the links in the workbooks are not working. And I was like, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry right now. And then we got them fixed. It took like a message to Michael, and like he did his techno wizardry, and we were good. But I had that moment of, this is why people day drink, because I get it. So yeah, things are glitchy. We're aware. We're working on it. Somehow, knock on wood, it's YouTube that hasn't been letting us down this time.
Right.
We'll just give it a minute, I'm sure. Okay. So, let's get into the episode.
All right. I've been waiting for this.
I know, I've got so many thoughts, because there's the surface level immediate answer, and then I go deeper.
Yeah.
I go deeper. Okay. So, if you ever do want to ask a question, the best place is to use our contact page on our website. It goes to email. I will see it. It might take me a while. The second best place is FetLife. I use FetLife primarily for the DM. So if you ever have a question, feel free. It may become a podcast episode. I might answer it directly. It depends on how I'm feeling at the time. This one became a podcast episode. The question was, how much does a submissive need to change in order to have a successful DS relationship? What are your immediate thoughts, JB?
Okay. Here we go. Here we go. So, there are so many layers to this. It is just unbelievable. So I'm going to start in this way. Mm-hmm. When you and I met, we both knew each other was kinky. And yet we built our relationship first and foremost on being friends and getting to know one another. So looking at this from a relationship aspect, leave out the kink for right now. Mm-hmm. I got to know who you are, who Kayla is as a person. Mm-hmm. And in the past, I have been in relationships where the other person's like, oh, for me to love you, you have to change.
Yeah, you have to be somebody that you're not.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that crashed and burned very quickly. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons our friendship grew and I grew to love you was because of who you are, the person that you are, the core of your person. And to say, do I want that to change? No. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not.
Right, like if you met me and then wanted things about who I am at my core to change, then why do you want to be with me?
Right.
Go find somebody who was already those things.
Who was already
at
those
their core.
things.
Right.
All right. So, now, that does not go without saying that in the time that we have been together, that you have not grown in certain ways and changed. That, I think, is inevitable.
Hopefully, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you stay stagnant. And I have always been a firm believer that life is about growth. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, there is that. Now, bring in the kink.
Okay.
Okay? There again, too, one of the things that attracted me to you, a good portion of our kinks aligned. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay? From being a masochist and the type of play you enjoyed, to you being a service submissive.
Sure.
Okay, and the things that you and the roles that you see yourself in as a service submissive aligned with what I wanted. Just like me as a dominant aligned with the things you were looking for.
Right.
Okay. So all right. That's there. Now, is it a matter at that point of changing? Indirectly, no. It was a matter of learning.
Learning new skills. Learning how to interact with a new person.
Learning me
Sure.
just as much as I was learning you.
Right.
All right. And learning best ways to serve, learning, for me, best way to be a dominant and lead and guide you. So, no, I think at its core, again, it's not about changing, it's about learning each other.
And it's all about, I was thinking about this earlier, there's two parts to this. There's a reciprocal nature to any relationship, DS being what we're talking about. So who I am needs to fit with what you want. Who you are needs to fit with what I want. At the same time, the other part of it, of any successful relationship, is once you find the places you align and you have enough either similarities or complementary bits to yourself that you kind of fit, then there's compromise. And the thing is that people in any kind of relationship, romantic, sexual, platonic, working, parent-child, like all of them, in healthy relationships, there's going to be compromise, but that level of compromise has to be worth it, air quote that, because that can mean so many different things, to the people involved. So were there things you asked me to do that I had never done before? Sure. I had never even had a cup of coffee, let alone made a cup of coffee before I started making your coffee. Were there ways you asked me to behave, whether that was walking on a certain side, waiting for you to open the door, whatever? Absolutely. And the things that were unfamiliar to me or that I was uncertain of, I had to go within myself and go, am I willing to do it? Like, do I have any objection to it?
Right.
If I did, it was my job to speak up and go, I have an objection to this. If I didn't have an objection to it, but there was some part of it that didn't quite feel right, then it's about compromise. And the level with which both partners have to compromise in order to find the middle ground that works for everybody. I know there are power exchange relationships where there's, sometimes it's an air quote dom and sometimes it's just a dom who's still learning, who thinks that it's my way or the highway, and their submissive partner is supposed to bend to their will completely. That's can be a fun fantasy, but that's not the reality. That's not how relationships work. That's not how long-term relationships
It makes
can work.
for a great scene, but beyond that, yeah.
Right. And I know that there are some relationships, I think owner-slave comes to mind first and foremost, but not necessarily, where yes, the dominant partner has a more, air quote this, rigid, structured sense of what they want from their submissive, how they expect somebody to behave, how they themselves will behave. At the end of the day, the submissive partner needs to be willing to do that and needs to, on some level, be fulfilled by that. If I'm going to drastically alter the way I operate my life in a relationship, it only works long term if my needs are being met, my wants are being, delivered, like there's something I want that I'm getting. If I feel like I'm not the only one compromising and growing and learning new things and adapting to what this means. And when you have that long term and you have, the remembrance of growth and change and knowing that the thing you wanted on day 1 of your power exchange might not be what you want on year 10 of your power exchange, and being willing to try to be flexible in that way, the change that might occur is not change of who you are as a person. If somebody's asking you to completely change who you are as a human being in order to satisfy them, run. Run, get out now. One, that
Yeah.
might be fine for a little bit. Eventually it won't be fine. Two, if your needs are not also being met, then it's not a reciprocal relationship. There's no exchange going on. It's a controlling one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at the same time, you are not the same person I met 10 years ago.
No.
I am not the same person I was 10 years ago, nor am I the same person I was 20 years ago.
Right.
So there is going to be some change, but that change is through growth.
That changes through life experience, time, circumstance in life,
Right.
health, mental, physical, otherwise, whatever. Like, people ideally grow in themselves, in their lives. If you're with a partner or multiple partners, hopefully you can grow together. A common thing I hear, mostly on the vanilla side of things, about the reason a lot of relationships will fail is that either one partner is going through personal growth and the other one is not, and is trying to be who they were at 21 when they are 41, or they're both growing, but they're growing in different directions, and it becomes less compatible than it once did. It's harder to find that compromise. To air quote compromise means that somebody has to give up something that they absolutely desperately need in order to feel fulfilled, content, happy, whatever. Those are hard moments, and sometimes the answer is a relationship can't continue. When, in this case, we're talking about a submissive, and I think it's going to be a lot more common with submissives because of another thing on my little list of notes, where I understand where this idea might come from, which is submissive training, right?
Yeah.
If a submissive has to twist themselves into knots and become somebody that they don't even recognize anymore in order to make a relationship work, it's a completely one-sided relationship, and it cannot survive long term.
Right.
Sometimes the answer is, we are not compatible, this will not work. And that's a hard decision to come to.
Correct.
I get it. But what is better? Ending now and going on to hopefully live your best life, have some more periods of growth and learning new things about yourself and gaining experience and wisdom and all the things hopefully that come with, life as we move forward, or the misery and resentment that's basically guaranteed after any amount of time where you suppress everything that you are and don't have your needs met in service to a relationship where the other person, whether through benign neglect or manipulation or any number of things, is not asking what you need.
Yeah, well,
it's not trying to give you what you need.
Something like that in a situation like that is a pot waiting to overboil. Okay, because when someone's needs aren't being met, especially consistently for a long period of time, that resentment's going to build up. Okay, and it's inevitable. There's going to be resentment.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's going to go on, and everybody at some point like that is going to reach a breaking point.
Sure.
Where enough is enough. And just like I've talked in the past, this is one of the clear examples. I look at someone who is a submissive, especially a service submissive. They give, they empty their well. In order for them to continue giving, that well has to be replenished.
Right. And in a power exchange relationship, you would expect at least some of that replenishment to come from the dominant, because the false notion that the only one sacrificing, giving, working hard in a relationship is the submissive. First of all, not all submissives are service subs. Like, that's part of it. That's wrong on so many levels, and it's going to lead to bad ends to a relationship and a lot of bad tapes for people to overcome, because the responsibility of what a dominant needs to do is not just, I get what I want because I'm in charge, I get to tell you what I want, you have to do what I want. It's, what are you offering? What are you doing for your submissive? It is absolutely a back and forth. It is an exchange. It is not a take until, I use that submissive up.
Cast it away and get another one. Yeah.
Now, are there those people out there? Of course they are. Do they call themselves dominants? Of course they do. But that's not healthy. That's not what we're actually looking for. So, surface level, the answer to the question, does a submissive have to change who they are in order to have a successful relationship? I think we both agree, no. One, the question is too lopsided. Why are we supposing that the submissive has to do all of the changing in order for the relationship to be successful? This is a partnership.
Right.
Everybody's
Exactly.
giving and taking to the level that they can.
Both sides have to be willing to bend.
Yeah.
Okay.
To go your separate way if bending
is not an option.
Right.
But let's here's a good metaphor, I think. A tree. If a storm comes through and that tree is rigid, eventually that wind is going to break that tree.
Right.
Okay. The tree that survives the storm are the ones that are flexible and can give with the wind. And coming into a relationship, both parties have to be willing to bend. They each have to give and take. I did not get 100% of what I wanted when we created our relationship. Right. You did not get 100% of what you wanted. We talked, we negotiated, we worked at it, and we met somewhere in the middle.
We each got enough that we were satisfied and fulfilled.
Right.
And from there, we've grown. There were things I said no to in the beginning of the relationship that we do now.
Yeah.
There were things you said no to that we do now.
Right.
So that's that on that. But because I think of this as a multi-layered question. So I see this in 3 parts. That was the first part. That was the surface level. Is a submissive supposed to twist themselves into knots, and that's how you get a good DS relationship? Wholeheartedly, no. That is not how that's supposed to go. Here's the second place that I think this question tends to come from.
Okay.
And that's the idea of submissive training. So if somebody is being trained to behave a way, do certain things, act a certain way, carry themselves a certain way, surface level, that sounds like changing who you are. I think it goes back to the very first thing we've already said, which is the things you're doing and where you're compromising still need to be fulfilling on some level. You need to be receiving as well as giving. But I think we also don't always talk about submissive training for what it is, even though some people do because it's a kink of theirs, and that is behavior modification. Submissive training is skills training. Submissive training is changing habits, changing the course of your day and maybe how you move through life. Submissive training does not change who you are at your core.
Correct.
And should not, in my opinion. I don't care how deep and micromanaged you want to go. Deep down inside, whoever you are, regardless of the skills you know, the experiences you've had, even though those definitely will influence who you are, like that person is that person, and then everything else needs to kind of slot into place with that.
And there is a big difference in that because, I'm going to use this as an example. Smoking. A submissive smokes. They want to quit, and they want help. All right. To me, that falls under behavior modification.
Absolutely.
As a dominant, you are helping that person achieve a goal of quitting smoking. Okay, but you are not changing, again, the core of who that person is.
Right.
All right. So, behavior modification. You're still not changing the core of the person.
Right. The change, if there's going to be change, it's going to come from growth. And that growth may likely come, depending on the relationship, from the new skills you learn, the way you learn to interact with one another, the way you learn what your partner likes and doesn't like and how you fit in and what you need and want. Because the thing is that the further we go into this, when we're with some compatible partner where everybody's needs on some level to some extent are being fulfilled, when there's that give and take, that's the space where growth can happen. So maybe you had not great behaviors prior. I'm thinking of, and I saw it in the live chat briefly, the acting out to get the punishment because you don't yet know how to just ask for the fucking spanking. That's not changing who you are. That's changing a behavior you've learned. It might be a coping mechanism. It might be that's how it worked that one time with that one person and your brain went, okay, message received. At the core of it, the who you are is the person who likes the spanking. The how you get it is the behavior change. So submissive training should not fundamentally change who a person is at their core. Ideally, it will heighten the things that they already are that maybe they don't know that they're capable of. It will expand their horizons so that they can see what's possible and have that growth. It will allow them to experience their power exchange in ways that they have not done before or maybe never considered until they were willing to try the thing. And yes, you will see change from that, but it's not the training or the behavior modification that did it. It's the opportunity for growth. And it only works if in that situation, you as the submissive, and I'm speaking on my own behalf here, and from my perspective, if you are doing things that feel true and right to yourself. What I mean by that is there's nothing wrong with agreeing to do something, not because you give two shits about it, but because your dominant partner wants. I promise you, I did not care about learning how to make a cup of fucking coffee. I wanted to make my partner happy, and so therefore when he said, I would like you to learn how to make coffee and make it the way I like, I went, okay. And we've now expanded that from well beyond just making a cup of coffee.
I taught her how to make a cup of coffee the way I like it, and she took it to a whole new level. She makes it better than I did now.
But at the same time, there were things you said, I would like you to learn how to do this. I can't think anymore because it's now been so long. I know there were a couple things on the list I went, no, I know myself well enough that's not going to work. Yeah. There were some things that we went into trying to do. I was willing to do it, but I realized I couldn't keep it up. Well, if I had taken on this belief that because you want it done, I have to twist myself into knots to do it no matter what, I would have kept doing it. Resentment would have built, whatever. I would have been an unhappy person on some level. But because one of the skills we've developed together, and that's going to be part of my third point, we're getting there, is I had been learning how to communicate better. And so I was able to go, this thing you want me to do, it's not working. It's causing me stress. I'm not getting it done. I feel like I'm, not getting other things done. And at that point, you reassessed and went, do I actually need you to do this?
Right.
No, because you cared as much about getting what you want as you cared about me being happy. You actually care more about me being happy than having all of your needs fulfilled.
Correct.
And that goes back to like a false thing that a lot of people believe, that one partner is supposed to fulfill every single need of another person. That no, that's impossible. For some of us, we deal with that by, having a non-monogamous relationship. For others, you suck it up and go, either I have to find a more compatible partner, or I figure out what, if I don't need this need quite as much. That's just the nature of it. But that thinking, that false belief that a submissive is supposed to fulfill every need their dominant has, bullshit, and doesn't work once it meets reality. Because there will be some things that a person just can't do, won't do. It causes more harm than good.
Yeah.
And if the whole goal, air quote, of submissive training is to turn your submissive into this automaton that just does what you want, baby, go get you a sex doll or a sex robot, because that's the only way you're going to get that.
And that brings around to a thought that I had with all this. And, something I ran into early on coming into the lifestyle were these dominants who were like, I want a sub that I will break, and I will break that sub down to their barest existence as a person, and then build them back up into something they will not recognize.
From a fantasy perspective, I find that so sexy.
Right.
From a let's live our real life and pay mortgage/rent, keep the lights on, raise children, take care of dog and cat. The fuck?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Sure. First of all, I'm going to need to see all of your psychological degrees and how to do that safely.
Yeah, right.
Again, there's a lot of things we say in kink that can be great for a one-off scene, can be great as a fantasy that's hot. Some people in small doses can make some of that a reality, but for the vast majority, anybody who's saying I've done this and I've done it successfully, one, I'd like to see it before I believe it. Two, you're going to be the exception, not the fucking rule. The rest of us are trying to get through fucking life, and life will intervene, and your own past bad tapes, as we call them, your traumas, your triggers, those are going to come in and bite you in the ass.
Rear their ugly head,
The things you just want out of life that maybe you didn't know you wanted at 21, but you figure out at 42 you do, those are going to creep in. And the thing about being a submissive, and I know that some people will say this is different for submissives who identify as slaves and at sort of that end of the spectrum
Mm-hmm.
is, and I know that there are some people, I've seen them online, who claim that this is the life they're leading or trying to lead. I can't think of the word I want, but that air quote desire to completely suppress who you are and become a blank slate for a dominant partner. If you're able to do it and keep your mental health intact and actually have your needs fulfilled, again, you're the exception, not the rule. The vast majority of us, it's not feasible. It's not realistic. Too many people should not be entrusted with that level of care and that level of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of doms I know don't want that level of care and responsibility. They would like you to be your own autonomous human being. Thank you very much. And that we negotiate when you will let their will be what leads, and you kind of like lower it down a little bit.
I told you right up front, I have no desire to come into our relationship and micromanage you.
Mm-hmm. True micromanagement on the level I see it in sort of fantasy writing is, I mean, it's difficult on any level, but it's so difficult in the way that some people claim that they want to do it. A couple people I've read over the years say that they have. Call me skeptical. I think it's real easy to say anything on, the fucking internet. You can be who the hell you want to be. If people are leading that life, I hope you have mechanisms where you're checking in, where if a need's not getting met, you have a way to deal with it. The one time we've come across a couple, we've given this example for years now, that they had a very micromanaged owner-slave dynamic, one that I knew from immediately it would never be something I would want.
They spoke at our old munch years ago,
right.
Yes.
They had a very complex, in-depth, negotiated method for how issues could be resolved. So that this person, the submissive in this situation, if something happens and this is what they no longer want, there's a mechanism. Because the reality is that potentially, no matter how good that, lowering of your own will and letting the dominant partner's will take over kind of thing, no matter how good that is for some amount of time, eventually it probably won't work unless the two partners are growing together. Right. Which is ideal.
And looking at us, for example, what we had as long distance did not work is not what we had when we moved in together, is not what we now have.
Right. Exactly. And thank God. Because what we had during long distance worked. And the things that didn't work, we adjusted. We moved in. It took us a while. We figured out what worked. Mm-hmm. We've moved on in different directions with our life, and we're figuring out what works. It's not without its bumps. It's not without its moments of this is totally not working. We've had a few, not as in-depth as I'd like, but life keeps getting in the way. We've had a few conversations recently where I'm like, does this really feel like this is working the way we intended? Because it doesn't feel like it. But we're at a point we can have those conversations. Yeah. And the relationship for us is still intact. We just have to adjust again. So I have a third point on the change thing. Okay.
All right.
And it ties back to point number 2 about submissive training really being behavior modification and skills training. And that is, the reality is that assuming you're compatible with a partner, right? The Venn diagram of who they are and what they want and need and desire and don't want and need and blah, blah, blah. And you and what you want and need, blah, blah, and personalities and all that stuff. You're going to come together. There's going to be a Venn diagram and you're going to build your relationship where you overlap, right? Assuming that's good, assuming that's workable, assuming that's something you each want to pursue over some amount of time, long-term, short-term. You've touched on it, and now it comes back to a behavior skills kind of thing. Mm-hmm. In order to have a successful DS relationship, it's not that both partners have to change. It's that both partners have to grow. Because the reality is whatever you were shitty at in your vanilla relationships, you're still going to be shitty at them in your power exchange until you learn otherwise. Communication skills is the perfect example.
Correct.
Many of us come into power exchange and we hopefully get the message somewhere that we're gonna have to communicate. Dom and sub. But just because you know you're supposed to do it doesn't mean you know how to do it. Doesn't mean you're necessarily with a partner who can collaborate with you in that way and give as much as you're trying to give you the feedback and work it out with you and let you be imperfect at this new skill, whether it's communication or otherwise. But the reality is that we're not talking about toxic abusive situations, because one, we're not trying to change toxic abusive people. We're trying to get away from them safely. That's what we're going to try and do there. But for people who are just imperfect people, if the level of compatibility still feels like the right level of compatibility, what skills do both sides of the slash need to improve on? That's not change. Again, it's not who you are at your core. It's a skill or the letting go of an old coping mechanism. Think about how many of us, because of past relationships and shit we've been through, when I know me, I have a perfect example. That's me. First of all, I don't tolerate being yelled at. Okay. I'm not, a dog in the backyard. You don't need to yell at me, but angry voices. I know, and I'm using this word in the psychological way, angry voices trigger me. It's an anxiety attack waiting to happen, or it's now a angry outburst waiting to happen. You have had to learn over the years how to modulate your own tone. You can be angry, but you don't need to lash out.
Right.
You lashing out is a coping mechanism you've had. How old are you now? Your whole fucking life, because I haven't met your family.
Well, and there's the little oddity to that too. When she first started telling me this, especially after she met my family, I come from a German-Italian background. Both very loud cultures.
Yes, and there's a difference between loud and angry, and when loud and angry combine, my brain shuts the fuck down. Yeah. So I had to learn how to communicate that with you. I had to go do the work of understanding that was a trigger and what could I do about it, if anything, not always. I needed to teach you that you're not going to get very far with me in an argument or when you're upset if you then sent me down this rabbit hole where I'm no good for easily a day. Those were coping mechanisms, habits, things we've done that are not fundamentally who we are. Fundamentally who I am, I might joke, my fundamental core is not somebody who is crying in bed. I mean, I don't think that's anybody's fundamental core, even though sometimes it feels like it. Yours is not an angry person. Are there some people who seem like that's their fundamental core? Yes. Okay. It was a thing you did because parts of your life taught you to react that way. Then you met a partner who went, oh, we can't do this. Right. And you wanted the relationship enough and understood it for yourself that this is not working, so I will change this. I will do my best. And I understood that the way I was reacting was not working, and I didn't want to react that way, and I was willing to change the behavior. It was not a fundamental change of self. No. It was growth. It was an opportunity to do something different than I had done before. Working on it together, we make the relationship stronger, and ideally, and so far it's been working, we continue to sort of move and grow in the same direction. Now, as we said at the top, sometimes you grow, and you grow in two different directions. And that can be sad, especially if it's a relationship you really deeply want to maintain. But sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're literally not even, it's not the same path. You're not even on the same fucking map anymore. And that doesn't mean the relationship failed. And if you did both grow and seemingly change, air quote that, that's actually a good thing. And you were together at a time when you could help one another and you could do that together. But yeah, so change is not the same as learning a new skill to me. I understand why we use that shorthand and we use those terms interchangeably, because especially if you've ever had this experience of knowing somebody who did not have good communication skills, maybe had some anger management issues, maybe had some untreated, undiagnosed mental illness or whatever, and it shaped how they behaved, and maybe it made them a less than ideal partner, and then you see them after they've done the hard work and the growth of everything they needed to do, it can feel like you're looking at a completely different person. Yeah. And if somebody says about themselves that they are a complete different person, I respect that. My personal belief is that that person was already there. It was just covered up in years of gunk, you know?
I mean, that, what you're talking about with growth, that's something I have seen in any number of relationships over the years. If one person grows and the other doesn't, they grow apart. And that relationship can fade. Now, can it work if one partner at the very least accepts that the other partner is growing?
I think so.
I think so.
Because I think your growth can happen at different rates. I've had
True.
leaps and bounds
Yeah.
of growth where you weren't in a position where you, air quote, needed growth. You were maintaining. Maintaining can be fine as long as it's healthy.
Right.
Because I'll leap forward in a growth and I'll try and bring you with me and go, let me tell you what I've learned. Oh, here's this thing that I see is happening, communication, mental illness, whatever. And I will share my knowledge with you. And that's a balance of sharing knowledge versus preaching and sermonizing and trying to force somebody to agree with what the growth you've had. No, I can't. And then you'll go through your own thing and often it will be very difficult.
Yeah.
Many times it'll be tragic and sad. And what you'll find later is something about you, I don't want to say shifted, but that you see things differently than you once did. We're not going to go into details on this, so hopefully I don't need a content warning for this, but I know after every death of a close personal friend or family member, I'm not the same.
No.
Quite as I was before.
No.
Part of that's the grieving process, and sometimes it's been about realizing things, seeing things that you didn't see before, right? So, sometimes our growth cycles are painful and awful, and why? That's not fair. I don't like that. And sometimes they're good things. They're opportunities. They're pure chance and luck, but you're able to look at it and be introspective and go, okay, here's what I can learn from it. Whatever. But we're not always on the same pace, as one another.
Correct.
But that's the other thing, in our relationship, we'll try not to project onto anybody else's relationship. In our relationship, one of the things we are willing to do is do that thing of, okay, I've made a few steps forward in the path, but we're still on the same path. I will turn around and not wait for you, but kind of be like, I'm here.
Yeah.
We're still...
Right.
We're still here together. We're still compatible.
Because
we're still fitting
because
each other.
I think one of the worst things in a relationship is one partner experiences that growth and the other partner is like, what's going on? You're not the same person I used to know.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen... that's how my first and hopefully... only divorce, but my first marriage, that's part of how it ended. We were unrecognizable to one another. On one level, he was still the same person I'd married, but that was a problem. We'd been married 9 years, and in my eyes, he was the exact same person he married. I made the mistake that many people sometimes do. I married potential. I was like, I know what he's capable of. So I kept waiting for that growth and that, learning of new things and blah, 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 and never got it. And he... looking back was like, where's the 20-year-old that was happy-go-lucky and whatever? And I was like, she is bogged down by 2 kids and a mortgage.
Right.
And working 2 jobs right now. Okay, she's tired.
Yeah.
Because I had learned some hard lessons. I had looked at my life and not liked what I had seen, and so had, over the years, had made changes, had kind of changed paths and gone, I want to go a different direction. And he was unwilling or unable to go that. He was fine while I carried him down the path. And that's another thing that I think if you ever look at a relationship and realize that you have grown, we're not going to say changed, we're going to say grown, and your partner, you're unrecognizable to one another.
Right.
Sometimes, I've done this, you carried that person. They didn't have to change. They didn't have to... change is too easy a word. They didn't have to, have these moments of self-reflection and personal growth and what do I want to do with my life?
They didn't have to go through the growth spurts.
Right. And I was that enabler. And I absolutely strapped him to my back and went down the path and then realized I was fucking tired because I was carrying him. And I was doing it alone, and it wasn't that there was compromise. I was absolutely doing that. Let me bend and twist myself into unrecognizable, version.
Yeah.
In order to keep this going, when I finally took some really good advice and remembered I can do bad by my damn self. And went, okay, I'm going to keep going on this path. I'm going to leave your ass right here. If you think you can catch up, okay.
And
If
see,
you can't, not my problem.
in a healthy DS relationship, and even in a relationship outside of DS,
Sure.
I firmly believe you do not expect someone to change for you.
No.
In a DS relationship, because of the things that we do, we, as a whole, I believe, are more open to change.
Yeah.
As growth, more open to learning as a step to that growth. And I think those things combined are what make a DS relationship so different, but in a good way.
And the thing is, the sad thing is DS relationship, for all that it is definitely different from my non-kinky relationship, those fundamentals, because I agree with you,
they should
not be different.
It should be the core for all, if not most,
Exactly.
relationships.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Just like my Venn diagram overdone example.
Yeah.
Should be part and parcel of any relationship. But the reality is that too many of us are not taught the communication skills. We're not often taught to listen to ourselves and to trust the internal compass and voice and whatever we have that might say, this doesn't feel right, this isn't good. And then, of course, add in, I'm going to go with anxiety because it's the one I know well, add in a mental illness like anxiety, and then you don't even know if you can trust that inner voice. Like, it's like, there's so many reasons why, and that goes back to, though, the thing we say is, if that's who you were in a non-kink relationship, and that way of being and not listening to yourself and not letting go when you need to let go and not trying to figure out what is true for you and doing the compromise that suits the relationship and your own needs and all. If you're not doing that non-kinky, you're still going to struggle with it in a kinky relationship.
Right.
Because that doesn't just go away, because that's a part of the learning process and the growth process and the, I know people hate this cliche, but the path and the journey, that's part of that. It's not just what kinky shit can we do together.
But all of life is a path and a journey.
Of course.
Regardless.
Of course it is. I agree. But in terms of a relationship, who we are as people and how we relate to each other as people should not, but definitely is different from kinky to non-kinky. Shouldn't be different. And in some very good non-kinky relationships, these are things that are, standard to who they are. I think it's why if, for some weird reason, I don't want to contemplate it, the power exchange and the kink went away tomorrow, we still have the skills and the connection to maintain a non-kinky relationship.
Correct.
Because the fundamentals of how we try to relate to one another outside of the power exchange are still there.
Correct.
We're still going to communicate with one another. We're still going to, help each other. We're still going to try to be as true as possible as we can to our own needs and all of that.
And at the core of it, coming into the relationship, neither one of us said, well, you have to be this in order for us to have a relationship. Right. Or I have to be this to have this relationship. It wasn't.
No.
We accepted at the core of who we are and between our morals, between our moral compass.
Our ethics, our values.
Our ethics, values, all that stuff of who we are.
Right. Which goes back to why I think we still, you and I both, always recommend being friends at some level before entering a power exchange, especially if what you're looking for is a committed power exchange. It might be a little bit different if it's casual, if it's more of a top-bottom thing. But in a committed, I don't care if it's romantic or sexual, it can be perfectly platonic. It's the committed part. In a committed power exchange relationship, please, Jesus, try to be friends first, because figure out if you like this person as a person, because guess what? On the day when somebody's too sick for the power exchange, the person is who you're going to be looking for. And if what's happening in your burgeoning new, hell, maybe it's been established for a hot minute, power exchange is somebody is telling you that they want you to be fundamentally different than who you actually are, that means they're trying to have a relationship with somebody other than you, meaning they need to go find that person that embodies, to the best of that person's ability, what they're looking for, because you clearly aren't it. And that's not a knock at you. You haven't done anything wrong. It's a compatibility issue. Nobody on either side of a slash should twist themselves into knots, suppress who they actually are, and somehow fundamentally change everything about themselves to please another human being. If I'm not enough for you as a human being, as a person, as the woman you see sitting across from you, before we've added a layer of power exchange, I certainly am not going to be enough and the right one once the kinky shit gets added in. So figure that out first. And I know this is easier to say than it is to do. Do not be afraid to walk away from somebody who is not what you want. There's part of that, another thought that I'd had about this where that happens. One, I think sometimes it's a sub-frenzy thing from a submissive perspective. You're so eager to submit when you're in sub-frenzy, and you can sometimes convince yourself that you'll never get this opportunity again. And so you better take the first Dom-y looking person who's kind of looking at you cross-eyed, right? The other thing is, just at least in American culture, scarcity is a thing. If you don't jump on it today, it'll be gone tomorrow. It's not actually true. I don't want to jump on the wrong person. I mean, unless we're jumping in. That's different. Anyway, I don't want to accept the discount clearance $1.99 version of a Dom because I'm afraid that the high quality one that's going to cost more in terms of my own personal growth and time and effort, and we're gonna have to work for this to make this work. I don't mean work as in twist yourself into knots, but like put in the effort that a good relationship requires. I don't want my clearance bargain basement founded at the bottom of the bin under the 99-cent panties. Like that's not the one, because I'm afraid if I don't jump on this deal, it'll never happen again. Like think of any ad for anything. If you don't buy it now, you'll never get it. That mentality, that scarcity.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
And that scarcity thinking will absolutely have, of all kink and non-kink persuasions, have people going, okay, in other circumstances, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. But today I'm feeling a little desperate, and I may never meet another Dom. I may never meet another submissive. I may never... That's not actually true. You will meet other people. Will you maybe have to do the hard work of going out there and being where the people are? Yes, you might have to do that. That doesn't mean you have to accept a random one that doesn't fit your needs, that doesn't even like you as a person, who's telling you have to change everything, or that you look at and go, okay, they'd be perfect if they changed, and then you have this laundry list. If you're looking at a person and thinking, okay, I'll take them. I'll take that one out of the clearance rack. And then I will DIY on top of this and create, like, no, you've just asked for a person to maybe fundamentally change who they are to fit what you need. Like, no. Also, I just want to say that little mini rant was not a shade to clearance shopping. I love clearance shopping. I don't like to pay full price for nothing. But I also know when the marketing, people and advertisers of the world are fucking with us, okay? Because I've done that job.
Well, I think too.
So scarcity model kind of.
I'm going to bring my little 2 cents into this.
Bring us a whole nickel, Daddy. We don't have to just
I have
leave it to 2 cents.
Long time thought of it as the, fast food syndrome. Instant gratification.
Yes.
We media and commercial entities have taught us that gotta get it now.
Yep.
Pull up that drive-through window and get it right this instant.
Don't wait.
Yep. And sometimes the best things in life are the ones worth waiting for.
Yeah, that's fucking hard. I hate the P word.
That patient word again. Yeah.
You know what? I'll say this. I fucking hate it. I am naturally inclined to want to move fast and break shit, be impatient. But the times I have forced myself, or life has forced me to be patient, it's always been worth it. I haven't yet had a moment where I've had moments where I thought, I lost out, right? Like I waited too long. I was too patient. But I lost out on the thing, and then because I didn't follow that thing, bought that thing, did that thing, I was open for the thing that was around the corner that I couldn't have anticipated. And I was like, oh, so sometimes this is what patience gets you. Fuck. Fucking hate patience. So, the answer to, does a submissive have to change in order to have a successful DS relationship? The short and dirty answer is no.
Right.
Should both sides of the slash be prepared and willing to go through some personal growth within the relationship for it to be successful? Absolutely.
Yes.
Is everybody gonna learn new skills here? Absolutely. But neither partner on either side of the slash should feel that they have to fundamentally change who they are to fit whatever their partner is looking for and requiring and needing and requesting in order to have a successful DS relationship. Quite frankly, I have a feeling that's how that relationship is going to implode. And then it's going to be an unhappy, unsuccessful relationship.
Yeah.
So, see why that couldn't have just been
I
I know.
As soon as you told me the question, I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I have thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have any parting thoughts on that?
No. Other than what you said, I kind of thought of this as, me for some reason I like to throw in a little business line to it. It's kind of like getting a new job. Mm-hmm. You get a new job because you have a certain set of skills. Mm-hmm. You go into that job not changing fundamentally who you are,
right.
But at the same time, you go into that job, you bring what you bring with you, but you also learn new things,
right,
as you do in the job.
And I think that answers Maddie's question of what's the line between big changes and big personal growth expectations. We'll throw out expectations because you can't plan for them. But a big change is, I'm going to change. I'm going to have a different career path. That is a big change. I'm going to pick up myself and my 2 children, move 440 miles to live with my dominant partner. That was a big ass change. The growth happened because in the preceding 18 months before I made that big change, I'd finally gotten to know a good for me partner, learned to trust that person, had that trust reciprocated, built a strong relationship that I thought could last, and it was worth it to me. The growth both preceded and, I don't know what the word is, came after the big change. I made a big change because I'd had some personal growth. After I made the big change and adjusted my life, I have more personal growth. Mm-hmm. The expectation that there will be personal growth, I don't think you can have expectations. I think you can go into it going, oh, this is gonna require me to learn something new about myself or a skill. I'm gonna be learning something, but I don't think you can expect. If you're going to expect personal growth, expect it all the time. Expect that it's happening every moment of every day that you're moving through life. You won't see it until you look back. You won't see it until it's in your rearview mirror and you're comparing how you did things here to 6 months, 6 years later. But to make a big change tends to follow some personal growth you've had. To then adjust to that big change and find some measure of success or happiness, even if it means you throw out the big change plan you thought you had. That's another level of personal growth. It's all part and parcel. It all goes together.
Yeah.
I think. So, okay.
Okay.
We're going to have a bonus section.
All right.
Which will probably be back to just talking about our dog and cats. I'm just saying. But I don't think we'll have a actual bonus section with bonus content. I don't intend it. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, we can do a bonus section.
Okay. So are we good?
I don't know. I have no idea. Keep it kinky, y'all. And we'll see you next week. Daddy.
Yes, baby girl.
Can I talk to the crickets, please?
You've been doing an awful lot of talking to the...
I've been talking to you.
Me?
Yes.
What about all those people out there?
Well, they know I'm talking to them, but I'm looking at you.
Go ahead and talk to your crickets.
Thank you. So podcast listeners, I respect that many of you are podcast listeners because you want the ease, the simplicity, the don't make me do nothing except, listen to your voice ness of a podcast. I'm the same way. But if you don't follow us on Instagram, if I may finally be able to tempt you with why, for just like 30 seconds, you should go watch a YouTube video. My hair's purple. Everybody who's watching on YouTube has already seen it. Anybody who follows us on Instagram, whether that's the Loving BDSM Instagram at that handle I fucking hate, or the Kinkery Instagram, has seen my hair. The filter I like to use on Instagram, it's called Honey, by the way, because it smooths out the skin and gets out the redness, makes my hair look more blue than purple. Whatever. So, if you're like, maybe I'll check out the YouTube channel, maybe I'll check out Instagram, you're going to see my purple hair. We talked about it in the butt rub portion, the pre-game portion of the live stream.
Yep.
So anybody who's interested can go back and listen to that, watch that. Butt rub stuff. No, bonus section stuff. What are words?
We're a bit beyond the butt rub.
We are. I mean, I'll always take a good butt rub. Love me some butt rub. What have you got for bonus section is what I was trying to say.
I've just been keeping on, doing my thing. Last night we finally got some much needed rain.
Yeah, thank God.
Very, very glad for that. And woke up kind of to a surprise when I went to let the dog out. Apparently during the night when the rain came through, there was a big limb that broke off into the backyard.
Yeah, so behind our back fence is a wooded area with tons of trees, and some of the branches overhang into our backyard, which is fine.
Yeah.
And we've had some really big storms where nothing came down into our yard from back there. But this one, where I don't think the storm was quite at that level of intensity, but that limb was ready to come down.
Yeah.
It missed, I think it nudged our orange tree, but that was fine. It was just weird. We were what?
I looked at the limb because you know me too. It's like, can I do anything with this?
I didn't even think of that. I looked at how skinny it was. He can't do anything with that. Of course you
always
did.
find something to do with it.
I know.
But no, apparently it broke off because the tree was
dying.
Is showing some age. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't a fence. I'm glad it didn't come down on top of your shed. It was a pretty big branch, but it was fine. To continue our old people conversation about weather. It was sort of funny because we've been watching the weather reports and our area has been getting rain because it's Florida in summer, afternoon, evening, there's going to be rain. But it kept missing our house to the point we were coming home from some errands last night and we're driving through torrential downpour, nearing the main road to get into our neighborhood. We go down that main road and we're like, wow, it rained. And as we went further and further down the road, I'm like, I think it's sprinkled here.
And then it was like a
line, and it did not rain. I'm like, did our house not get any rain again? It's like a donut, and we're in the center and getting no rain.
We're under the dome.
Well, I was saying donut because it was raining all around us. That was the pastry goodness of a donut. I also now want a donut, and we're the center hole and getting no rain. And then last night, thank God, it was like after in the house, then, deluge and torrential downpour on top of our heads.
Yep.
Which was nice. Yep. So, okay, we've done the old people talk about the weather. I mean, at least we've only sometimes this summer complained about the heat. Like, we keep it brief. There were entire summers where we were like, oh my God, it's so hot.
Yeah.
As if it would come to a surprise to anybody that Florida in summer is hot.
It's hot.
Lola is good.
Yeah.
She's wonderful. You probably heard her shake in the background a minute ago because her collar went flopping.
Jingle jangle, yeah.
The cats are good. Onyx is becoming more, air quote this, aggressive in her desire to have her head scratched.
Attention, yes.
Oh yes. Ella is actually seeking me out to let me pet her more than she used to. Well, here's why. The boys, who she loves and adores and will sleep in their bed and be as close to them as possible, they pick her up like a baby, cradle her around. They don't swing her around, like fling her, but like move very fast and a little aggressively. And she tolerates it until she doesn't. I'm the soft, gentle one who like do a little scratch right on her cheek, and you could just see her relax, like, oh, okay, you're not gonna pick me up, you're not gonna move me, you're just gonna let me exist, okay. And so now she's starting to seek me out. Like, she doesn't want it for too long. It's not like Onyx, who's like, oh no, you will pet me for exactly 15 minutes and 42 seconds,
and you will not pick me up to do it.
Ella's like, I only want about 10 seconds of it, but I would like 10 seconds a few times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the youngest has also semi-adopted Ella.
Mm-hmm. He's also a little aggressive in his love, and so he's got scratches. She still goes to his bed. She still wants to be with him. Mm-hmm. So it's a relationship they've developed, but he's got scratches all over him. I'm like, are you sure she's liking this?
Right.
But we, yesterday afternoon, I did school clothes shopping with him. I'm glad that's over now. We have to go to eye appointments and dental appointments. That stuff is still coming up, but clothes shopping is done. He's, on one level, he's not hard to shop for. He wants very basic things. He kind of has his sense of style is kind of the same over the past few years. But he's picky about the colors, so I can't pick them out for him. He'll be like, I don't want that. And then he will absolutely not wear it. And it's not a fight I'm willing to have. It's like, just come with me.
Yeah.
I'll buy you treats and food and drinks. Because is it a shopping excursion if you don't have an ice cold drink in your hand? I don't think so. I'm giving my kids the thing I desperately wanted when I was a kid on the random times we would go out. We don't go out very often with them. I didn't go out very often when I was a kid, but I was always like, can we get a drink from McDonald's? Can we get a snack? I was always reminded we had food at home. And so I don't think my kids have ever heard we have food at home. I don't think I've ever said it. Have you said it? I don't think so. Have you? I haven't. I'm like, a treat does sound nice.
A few times I've been like, okay, enough is enough. There have been enough treats floating around here for everybody. And
I'm like, when we plan where to go, I'm going to map out where the drive-thrus are, because there will be treats. So, yeah. But no, his color palette is changing.
Yes.
More muted colors, which on one level, I kind of get it. It's middle school. Somebody has probably said something at some point, and he just wants to avoid the hassle. And the other part of me is like, but I like the fact that you literally dress the entire rainbow. Like, do it if it makes you happy, but it's his choice. So yeah, we did that. It's been quiet.
It has been quiet this past week. You and I went to do some clothes shopping for me. I got some walking shorts. I'm going to start doing some walking.
You got very brightly colored walking shorts.
I did.
Nobody will miss you. Everybody will see you coming.
That is my hope around here.
I know, right? Go on. I know.
That is my hope.
I know. And now I don't think this will come to a shock to many people, but some people will find it surprising, because I know it looks like we are attached at the hip. We used to try to walk together. JB walks like he's actually trying to run a fucking race, and I cannot keep up. So, but also we each want to walk for different amounts of time, different paths, different blah, 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 blah. So this is not something we're doing together. I walk in the morning before I start my day, and you will probably
I will most likely walk in the evenings
at the end of your day. Yes, we will do it separately. We are capable of that.
Right. Much as I love her, we do walk the dog together.
That's different. I consider that like
that's different. But when I'm walking for the sake of walking,
he needs to enter some power walking races. Holy fucking shit.
I pop in the earbuds and I get some music with a beat going.
But you can do it without having music.
We
can just be at Sam's Club, and I'm panting. I have longer legs than he does, and I feel like mine are doing like the spinny wheel thing, trying to keep up with you. And part of it is I used to actually run 5Ks, and then when I stopped running because these knees just don't like that, I was power walking at my top speed, which is certainly faster than I'm walking right now, 5Ks, and enjoying it, and I could do it. And then when I worked retail a million years ago, you learn to walk really fast in retail because God knows you're going to have to get from one side of the store to the other for whatever reason. I know how to walk fast. One, yes, I'm a little out of shape. Like, y'all, I have a mirror. I know. But two, when we're at the grocery store, I don't want to walk like the building is on fire behind me, and the only way I can go buy the carton of milk is to outpace the burning inferno. Like, it's like, what is the rush? It is just grocery shopping.
And I hate to say this, it's not just you, because when I was in South Florida a couple weeks ago, the person I was with, walking down the strip there at Fort Lauderdale Beach, a few times I was told, you need
slow the fuck down?
Yeah.
Someone, like, look, if you wanted to get into doing 5Ks with me, because I used to do them all the time and love them, and I miss 5Ks. I'm not running, I would have to be a walker. That's fine. If you wanted to train for that, I would train. And I would, even if I was behind you and going a little slower, I would use you as my model. But when we are just walking through life, again, and there's not a blazing inferno chasing us, I would like to stroll with you. I would like to walk at a pace where I can speak and look at the things we're walking by. How many times have we gone somewhere and it's like a blur? I'm like, I don't even know what aisle the grocery store we're on. Where are you going in such a hurry?
I know.
I love you so much. Slow the fuck down.
Yeah. And Miss Fox, I didn't know that there was just walking shorts. They're gym shorts.
They're gym
I call
shorts,
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Technically, we were in Kohl's last night, and now 3 experiences buying all the clothing that was needed for the person we were shopping for in Kohl's. I was like, apparently I'm a Kohl's shopper. Why did I not know? There's an entire activewear section. On one side it was men's, which had some brighter colors than in the air quote women's section. In the men's section, there were like 5 or 6 different styles of shorts, and I was like, aren't they all just gym shorts? No. Some are like the basketball shorts, the mesh stuff, and then some were like this other material that I was like, is that not a swim trunk? No. Is that a tennis short? I don't know. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
So you just went for stretchy waistband and colorful. They're pretty.
Let me just say this. Gym shorts have come a long way from the black and gray that I remember as a kid. That was your black, gray, and blue. That was it. That was those were your choices.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's not just you. Yeah,
I know it's actually you. If it's other people,
it is me. Yeah,
it's you. The problem is you.
It is me. When I get wound up, I'm like one of those little toys that is.
But then you know what else you do?
They gain momentum as they.
But you know what else you do? You also then immediately put on the brakes. There's no brake light. There's no signal. There's no flashing lights. I'm huffing and puffing to race through the Publix like our ass is on fire, and then you see something you want to look at, and you come to a dead-ass stop, and so I, too, now figure out how to slow the hell down and stop. And then the irony is, for as fast as you're walking, you can spend a lot of time looking at the options and deciding on your options. I'm like, clearly, we're not actually in a hurry here because we've just spent 20 minutes looking at this one product and all the other products just like it to make sure we're getting the right thing. So it's not get in and out of the grocery store as quickly as possible. It's not just grab a thing, throw it, No. And part of me, knowing that you are sadistic as fuck, wonders if there aren't times, even if you don't start out doing it purposefully, if you take a little glee and satisfaction.
There is that. From
the fact that it sounds like I just finished giving birth and I'm trying to catch back the fuck up with you, like, okay, I'm here. Okay, what are we looking at? Okay, pretzels? It's pretzels. Which ones do you want? No, let's take 10 minutes. I could use a break. Okay. Pick your pretzels. Y'all.
It's all part of my sadistic plan.
I think so. I think sometimes you take a little bit of, and yet, you know where you slow down? In the parking lot. There'll be a car like way the fuck back. It's not coming near us, and I know I'm not a small woman. If we're in the center of that crosswalk, they're going to see me, and they're not going to want that damage to their fucking truck. And this one will go, no, we have to wait. I'm like, wait the hell back. We can get across. The way you walk, we could definitely get across. Like, why don't we just go? It's fine. It's fine. Look, if I think a car's going to hit me, I will walk faster. I'm funny that way. But that's where you want to slow down. And I love you so much. I'm so glad you're cute.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so other than that, yeah, I got nothing. Just working.
Yeah, I mean
Just doing
that's
stuff.
what I've been doing. You know, trying to do what I can out in the shop and keep things going. After we finish recording this, I need to call the sawmill.
Yes, because you want to go. You got to get wood.
I need to get wood. Yep. Yep.
Yep. So yeah, we're just gonna keep on keeping on.
Right.
That's all I got. I'm gonna keep enjoying my purple hair.
There you go.
I'm gonna be very sad when I have to take this eye makeup off tonight. I did not do this on purpose. I don't know what I'm doing with eyeshadow, and I did a thing, and I'm like, I did a thing. Damn. Okay. I will never do it again. But for this 1 week, I did a thing.
Okay. All right.
So I guess with that, we should probably go.
Probably let these good people, get on with their day.
Some of these good people have said they would happily hang out for a longer stream.
True.
Which, thankfully, third Friday, I don't remember what date that is in August, but whatever the third Friday is, currently it's open and available. It'll be a live stream. Okay. We're going to go. Okay. I need a snack. I didn't eat a real lunch before we started streaming. I'm hungry. Okay.
Right.
I keep saying that. We're going to go.
I know.
We're gonna go.
And we don't go anywhere. All right. Time to say goodbye.
Okay.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye,
We love
everybody.
you.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next week.
Yep.
Bye.